Sorry for being such a poor traveling companion the past few days. I hope you didn't take my brooding personally. I just needed some time to think things over. Oh, I guess that's true. Sorry. I'm just not used to being on the receiving end of sympathy. My fault for putting on a brave face, I suppose. I wouldn't want to burden you with my problems. Besides, it's a bit personal. Are you always this persistent when meddling in others' affairs? Perhaps you're right, though. If nothing else, it might be good to hear these thoughts spoken aloud. So, this has actually been on my mind for longer than just the past few days. I think it's been smoldering for a while, actually, but it only came to the fore when Sacriel's head priestess passed a few weeks ago. Her name was Kalia, an unassuming old woman, but one of the most gifted healers I've ever met. I once saw her labor for 2 days to bring a feverish mother-to-be back from the edge of death. I'd thought for certain she was going to die, but somehow Kalia managed to save both her and her child. She made me realize that there were other ways one could serve the divines, some nobler than the sword. Which is why it's a cruel joke the gods saw it fit to take her and leave someone like me when so many were sick and dying. Were it a band of brigands, I could do something, but a plague! I can barely even cast a basic healing spell. I know the priests say the divines have a plan for each of us. It's probably what Kalia would be telling me now were she here, but I just don't think I believe that anymore. Perhaps the gods truly are dead. Somehow the thought is more comforting than they simply not caring. I take it you're not well versed in theology. It's oft said that to birth Nirn, the 8 had to sacrifice themselves, or at least a part of themselves. It's why some refer to them as the dead gods. Truthfully, I've never really understood what that actually meant. How could the divines be dead and watching over us at the same time? I think I understand the contradiction a little better now, though. I mean, I did what I could, but I don't think my efforts made much difference. I certainly wasn't as useful as Kalia would have been. If the gods were truly watching over us, the choice of who to save would have been obvious. Thanks for trying to comfort me, though. I'm going to think this over a little longer. I'll let you know if I need your ear again in the future. I'll admit the thought crossed my mind. As outlandish as it sounds, I can't see any other way of explaining what you experienced. Whatever the case, I suppose it's comforting to think that if the divines aren't watching over me, at least someone is. Gods, it's embarrassing when people put it so plainly. It makes me sound like some character out of a children's book. I'll admit the term isn't entirely unfitting, though. I did swear a number of vows before the divines. They were the reason I was protecting Sacriel, actually. They're not all that interesting, mostly just rules you'd think one wouldn't need to be compelled to follow. Protect the weak, honor the dead, respect the law, things of that nature. I swore 9 in total, 1 for each divine. The ceremony was held in Coral's chapel, so Stendar's was chief among them. If you want me to list them all, it'll need to be some other time. I'm not usually this sober when I talk about this. I trust you won't report me to the Thalmor if I fail to correct myself. Even in Cyrodiil, people hold to their beliefs and traditions. Besides, what the Dominion doesn't know can't hurt them, or anyone else for that matter. Truthfully though, Talos was never my favored divine. He was once man after all, with all the blemishes that come with that. Well, I wasn't entirely uncompensated. They kept me fed and provided me with lodging. The children would also give me trinkets on occasion, though I'm not entirely sure why. I've never been particularly good with kids, but they seemed drawn to me wherever I'd go, always wanting to touch my sword and armor. I forbid them to, of course. Their hands were usually snotty after all, but they never cared to listen. Perhaps I shouldn't have been so hard on them. Just scraps of inane ramblings. Most of it was utter nonsense, but one passage mentioned something of note. It said something to the effect of, "Weep not for the harvested, for they shall know salvation when one with the taskmaster." It's what some particularly revolting sects of Daedric worshippers call Pereite. Honestly, I should have suspected his foul stench was involved in this. Nothing about that plague in Sacriel felt natural. His followers are a vile blight on this world, so I'd say we did well ridding Tamriel of some of their filth. It's just a shame we couldn't have acted a little earlier. Oh? Are we leaving so soon? I was hoping to stay by the fire a little while longer. I've only just begun to warm up after that frigid trek across the Gerald Mountains. I'm glad to see not all of Skyrim is that harsh, but even this village is a little colder than I'm accustomed to. Can't say I've ever had the inclination to, mostly due to the climate. I grew up on the Gold Coast. My Colovian blood really isn't suited for all this snow and ice. Don't worry, though. I'll try to keep my complaints about the cold to a minimum. Wouldn't you rather talk to me a bit longer anyways? Besides, there's actually one more matter I wanted to discuss with you first. I don't know how to phrase this without possibly offending you, so I'm just going to say it bluntly. If you intend to kill innocents, steal or otherwise commit unsightly acts, I'd ask you to do so far from my gaze. Regardless of how I feel about the gods right now, I have no intention of going against my morals. I guess I'm not particularly against that, but it's kind of worrying you're already looking for an exception to my rules. Well, I suppose you can partake in a little murder and thievery. Everything in moderation, after all. Seriously, though, just don't make me regret swearing that oath to you. Anyway, I think that's delayed us long enough for me to regain feeling in my toes, at least. If we really must leave the comfort of this inn, I suppose I'm ready when you are.